Hello everyone, please make sure you're subscribed. Manchester United handed new triple transfer update amid Bryan Mbeumo talks. Man United are being linked with Sporting's Martin Hjulmand, Bayern Munich's Joao Palhinha and Palmeiras' Richard Rios amid their pursuit of a deal for Bryan Mbeumo. Manchester United have been handed a triple transfer update amid their pursuit of a deal for Brentford's Bryan Mbeumo. The Manchester Evening News understands United submitted a revised bid exceeding £60 million just over a fortnight ago. At the time, it was thought that the offer would be enough for Brentford, but negotiations remain ongoing. United's initial bid of £55 million did not tempt the Bees, who are said to be holding out for a figure closer to £63 million. Amid the backdrop of the Mbeumo saga, it is understood that the Reds are still looking to sign a new striker after missing out on Liam Delap to Premier League rivals Chelsea. Another number 9 heavily linked in Sporting's Victor Gyökeres also looks set to join one of United's top-flight rivals, with Arsenal said to be his preference. The Reds' need for a reliable goal-scoring striker is much needed after netting just 44 times in the league last time. However, the Independent's Miguel Delaney has claimed in his latest newsletter that United's next priority will be a new central midfielder once a deal for Mbeumo is agreed. There's been a lot of noise about Manchester United and strikers, but the feeling is that the next priority once Brentford's Bryan Mbeumo is secured, it seems to get closer every day, is a central midfielder, he said. United activated the £62.5 million release clause in Matheus Cunha's contract early last month, bringing the Wolves forward to Old Trafford on a 5-year deal with an option for an extra year. Paraguayan left-back Diego Leon has also joined the club, but may be loaned out. Here at the Manchester Evening News, we are dedicated to bringing you the best Manchester United coverage and analysis. Manchester United might be about to get £15 million green light to seal Bryan Mbeumo transfer. Man United need to get the signing of Bryan Mbeumo wrapped up as quickly as possible, and they could be set for a welcomed helping hand. Manchester United's hopes of sealing a deal to sign Brentford star Bryan Mbeumo could be boosted thanks to a potential £15 million cash injection. United have been in talks with the Bees for more than a month amid their eagerness to extract their prized possession from the Tech Community Stadium. Mbeumo is just as keen on a move to M16, but negotiations are beginning to drag on. Manchester United chief executive Omar Berrada has already outlined why the club will require time to get new signings through the door this summer amid the ongoing Bryan Mbeumo saga. Despite opening talks with Brentford more than a month ago, United are yet to reach an agreement with their Premier League counterparts for the Cameroon international, meaning some supporters are beginning to get increasingly frustrated. United tabled an opening bid from Mbeumo in early June, understood to be worth £55 million, but it was swiftly rejected. They then made an improved offer in excess of £60 million just over a fortnight ago. It appeared as though that second bid was going to be enough for Brentford to give United the green light to complete the deal for the attacker. However, negotiations remain ongoing amid claims the Bees are holding out for around £70 million. United made a flying start to the window last month, announcing they had reached an agreement with Wolves to sign Matheus Cunha for £62.5 million just 14 hours after the window had opened on June 1st. However, the task was made easier by the fact Cunha had a release clause in his contract. United have been unable to rely on a release clause in their attempts to sign Mbeumo, meaning discussions have now been ongoing for over a month. Both the Reds and the forward are equally keen to get a deal done. However, with United desperate to strengthen in other areas this summer, they are at risk of losing time amid the length of time and effort it is taking to try and reach a breakthrough with Brentford. After such a disappointing 2024-25 campaign, United desperately need to inject fresh blood into the squad this summer to give head coach Ruben Amorim the best possible chance of taking the club forward in the upcoming campaign. They want to sign a striker, a midfielder and a goalkeeper in addition to Mbeumo. But with no European football to enjoy in 2025-26, revenue streams will be cut, meaning United are having to box clever. At the same time, though, they are having to tread a fine line between recruiting the right standard of players and not paying over the odds. Matheus Cunha was an important one to get done, Berrada told United with Stand last month. We're going to do our best to do more signings quickly. Sometimes when you're not quick, it's because you're negotiating and you're trying to make sure you get the right value for money. So being efficient or quick isn't necessarily the best thing for the club. After getting a deal for Cunha wrapped in next to no time, United immediately increased expectation levels when their interest in Mbeumo surfaced just over 24 hours later. They set a target of signing the former Troyes star in time for the start of pre-season training, and they failed to achieve that ambition. But as Barada explained, United want to ensure they get value for money, and that is fair game. They have got to be smart this summer, and that is the balancing act they are currently facing. United know just how desperate both the fans and Amorim are for new signings, but they can't lose sight of the finances despite that increasing hunger. Ruben Amorim has already explained how Man United have saved millions in summer transfer window. Manchester United head coach Ruben Amorim has been fortunate enough to work with almost every member of his squad in the opening week of pre-season training at Carrington over the last few days that a crop of United's players reported back to the club's training ground on Monday before those who were on international duty at the end of last season returned on Thursday. It has meant Amorim has been able to put more than 30 players through their paces in first-team training this week. The Reds will step up their pre-season preparations when they face Leeds United in Stockholm next Saturday. However, the start of United's pre-season preparations came too soon for centre-back Lisandro Martinez. The Argentine is continuing to recover from an anterior cruciate ligament (ACL) injury that he sustained back in February. The left-sided centre-back was forced off during United's 2-0 defeat to Crystal Palace and underwent a successful operation the following week. He has since been working hard on his recovery and confirmed in a social media post in midweek that he is making progress. Prior to the January transfer window, Martinez was United's only left-footed centre-back. He was just getting into his stride and coming to terms with Amorim's 3-4-2-1 formation when he got injured, meaning it was a major setback for him, and the Reds. United's regard is in need of balance, and the presence of a left-footed player on the left side cannot be understated. Fortunately, United swooped for youngster Aiden Heaven in the mid-season window, signing him from Arsenal for £1.5 million. Despite only making one substitute appearance for the Gunners, he made his mark at Old Trafford almost immediately. He ended last season with 6 appearances to his name, and each of those outings saw him produce. Heaven has the potential to be a low-risk, high-reward signing, and Amorim admitted back in April the youngster is more than capable of filling in for Martinez, admitting the club's decision to sign the teenager for such a small fee will save them money this summer. Aiden is a kid that arrives here, worked really well, and then with some injuries, he had the opportunity and shows a lot of qualities. So that can also change your recruitment. Amorim too. So if we were thinking like has an injury, we need a left-footed centre-back, but now we have this kid, so we can save money for another thing. So that is really important, and the door is open for young kids. United are desperate to strengthen their attack as a priority this summer, meaning the £1.5 million acquisition of Heaven earlier this year means they have reserved funds that can go towards strengthening their biggest weakness. Despite releasing Johnny Evans and Victor Lindelof last month, United have no plans to sign a centre-back this summer. However, if they had not signed Heaven, they would have almost certainly been in the market for a left-sided centre-back right now. An accomplished showing. ASA result.